Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes. Yeah, thank you for the invite. Appreciate you guys being here. For those that are on social media watching live, hey, share it. Share it with somebody. I think I'm going to share something today that is going to change someone's life. I know that seems a little bit kind of out there, but it's so weird. I was talking to some really good friends of mine last night, and ever since we got together and said, hey, let's book it, I'm like, sweet. Guys, I knew exactly what I was going to talk about. I've talked about it before at other places. And last night about 7:30, I got a little change of direction. It was so weird. I was like, why? Why change it up now? We've been ready this whole time. This is the day before. So I got back in there, changed everything up. And so today, I haven't given this speech in probably about a year and a half. So bear with me. So anyway, to introduce myself, for those of you that don't know me, because just really quick to kind of gauge the room, just by a show of hands, how many have heard me speak before, or else this is your first time? Okay, that should be every hand. Okay, good. Awesome. What you'll find out really quickly is that I enjoy having fun. I really enjoy having fun, and I want you guys to have some fun. But more importantly, I want you guys to get something out of this, because what I do, like I tell people, is not necessarily who I am. Who I am, and I'll share this with you, I tell people I'm a child of God, created by an awesome creator with a purpose in mind, and today I get to fulfill a little bit of that purpose. And I tell people they have to be able to differentiate their work from their job. Every one of us on here was born with a work to do. You can get fired from your job, but you ain't ever going to get fired from your work until you get called home, right? That's another lesson. I like those Elevate lessons coming up, so keep them going. So to tell you a little bit about myself, yes, I am one of the only that I'm aware of Ziglar Legacy Certified Speaker, Trainers, and Coach in this East Texas area. Anybody heard of a guy named Zig Ziglar? Pretty awesome guy, right? Passed away in 2012, but his legacy still carries on. And the interesting thing about his legacy is that I didn't know that you had to go through a process to get just elected to be able to be part of his program. I thought you just paid your fee and you passed the test and you became one. No, there was a big process involved. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but he's very specific about who carries on his legacy. And so his son, Tom Ziglar, was my coach during the certification. His daughter, his youngest baby, Ms. Julie Ziglar, who is in the Lindale area, is a realtor, if I didn't know. She was my speaker's coach. And so we did a lot of things, but what I really get out of this is I get to come back to you guys today and share with you all that has been given to me. And that's a huge responsibility, so I don't take it lightly. So today you're going to hear some things that may resonate with you, may not resonate with you, but I hope you get something out of it. Because if I can just simply add a little bit of value to your life today, then I think I did my job. I'm going to go ahead and get this PowerPoint started. I like this PowerPoint only because it gives me a visual, kind of helps me stay on track. But the presentation I normally do is called Choose to Win. Choose to win in real estate. Choose to win in life. Choose to win in parenting. Choose to win in whatever. This one is going to be about top performance and how to become a top performer. And it's going to be also talking about coaching and what the benefits of a coach really is, because as you can see, everybody does something a little bit differently. Everybody that is in this room has taken a different path to get here. But here we are. Everybody's path's a little bit different. But right now, we're all intersecting at the exact same time. That gets a little crazy when you start to think about it, but it all happens for a reason and a purpose, right? There's a rhyme and a rhythm for why it all takes place. But here's what I'm basically all about. If I was to narrow it down, this is what it boils down to right here. Mr. Dale Carnegie said, people rarely succeed unless they have fun in what they do. I don't know what you do for a living. Well, I think I do, really. But if you're not having fun, if you don't thoroughly enjoy what you're doing, when it gets tough, you're looking for that eject button, right? Bail me out. I'm out of here. But if you're having fun in what you're doing, when you come into a tough spot, all of a sudden you find a why through it. You stick to it. And that's what I tell people, because somewhere down the line, how many here was a kid at one point? That's a trick question. How many still kids? No. But at some point down the line, somebody decided to grow up. Right? Growing up is different from growing old. Growing old, you don't really have a chance. Everybody's going to get there. But growing up, somebody stopped growing up. Because when you were a kid, what happened? Some of y'all have little kids in here. If they want something, what are they going to do? Mom, can I? Mom says no. What do? Dad, what did your mom say? She said yes. Okay. Lying little kids, right? I know y'all don't have any of those, but I did. Still do. But that kid was going to, in some way, shape, or form, find a way to get what they wanted. And somewhere down the line, we as adults stopped trying and stopped going after what we wanted most. I'm going to dare say a dream, right? January, Martin Luther King, right? He said what? I have a dream. I think every single one of you in here has a dream. Today, I'm going to give you the process to be able to get to that dream and make that dream a reality. Weird, right? But my coach, the guy that came up with this entire philosophy, he made a living for over 5 decades. He influenced over 250 million different lives. And there's no telling how many more people those people influenced from that point forward. But he had this entire philosophy. He said, you can have everything. Everything. Think about that. In life you want. If you'll do what? Help enough other people get. It's not about you. Take yourself out of the equation. Start focusing on other people, helping solve other people's problems. Daniel Rabbi Lapin said this. He was one of the gentlemen that we read his book on business, but he said that God is never happier with his children than when they're solving the problems of his other children. Now, some of his other children have some big problems, but that's neither here nor there. But he said he's never happier than when you're helping them solve their problems, because ultimately, the quality of a leader, the quality of a coach, the quality of a team, everything is reflected in its standards. And what does it say about that? And the ones you set for themselves. Who said that? It worked out for him, right? Doesn't sell the best burgers, but they do sell the most burgers. And you see how profitable that business is. And so if it worked for them, guess what? Probably going to work for you guys. And so just by a show of hands, this is where I want to make sure that everybody's paying attention. How many feel that you have some untapped potential inside? Yeah. If you're still breathing, if there's still something inside, you know that you're meant for bigger and better things. And today we're just going to start to kind of scratch the surface on how to unlock that, because the reality of the matter is this. If you don't want it, I can't help you. Come on down the front row. It's fine up here. Good, welcome. Guys, if you want it, right, it's possible. But if you don't, it's not. And I think Mr. Ford had it right. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're both right. It's a matter of a mindset, right? How many ever been to the ocean? Right? That wind is going. You see the sailboats going, but their sailboats going in different direction. How is that possible if the wind is blowing this way? It's that setting of the sail, right? Your attitude and your mindset that allows you to go counter the wind. So weird, but it works. But here, this part right here, somebody read that for me. Who's a good reader?
Leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something that you want done because he wants to do it.
Thank you. Awesome. A coach does the exact same thing, guys. Anybody ever heard of a guy named Steve Jobs? Right? Anybody have a smartphone? Anybody have one of those Android dumb phones? No, I'm just kidding. Mr. Jobs said this. If you've ever read his autobiography, when they brought him the iPhone, it wasn't the iPhone. Anybody know what it was? It was the iPad. And he said, can you make it smaller? They're like, why? Nobody needs that much power in their phone. He goes, can you make it smaller? They said, yes. The iPhone was born. He says, people don't know what they want until you show it to them. As a real estate agent, how important is that? People don't know what you want to. All right? So check this out. If you want to build a business, you don't go about building the business. You build the people. Then the people will build your business. I call myself a human engineer, right? And if you've ever worked with construction, like Miss Construction Queen here, but if you understand how construction works, you got to have the blueprint, right? Talk to the architect. Start to design it. Start to plan it. We're fixing to get into that here in just a little bit. But everything is done with a method. There's a methodology involved to it. Why is life any different? And I think those kids had it down just right. They just never stop asking for it. Never stop asking. They're always going after what they want. And it's basically boils down to this. We have one problem in this world. Movies have been made on this. Books have been written. Anybody know what that is? Somebody just blurt out an answer what you think a real world problem is. Price of eggs? Price of eggs? That's a real world problem. We got issues there. Beer? Beer? Fear, yes. It could either way. Brother Michael, okay, we'll talk. Yeah. Here's what the Ziegler said. Here's where it gets a little fun, right? These are just zombies walking through life, no purpose, no direction, right? Nope. You know what the solution is? They have no dreams. They have no desires. Some of these might even be related to you. No, but there's one cure to this, and that's engagement. And that's what I love about what's going on here today is that I see everybody engaged. I see people taking notes. I see people taking pictures. I love that. That lets me know that you guys are paying attention. And again, my goal today is just simply to increase your value. If you walk away here with one piece of information that helps you become a better person, then my goal was done. But here's the reality of the matter is this. If you take a group of people, no matter how many, 30% of them are going to be engaged. Why is that a big problem? Yeah. That's a missing 70%. What are the other 70% doing? Look at this. They'll do it. Somebody else will take it. Somebody else will take out the trash, right? My kids are walking by the dishes like this. Right? Somebody else will do it. They're letting everybody else take care of it. And then on top of that, they're just kind of kick back, relax. But 18% are actually working against you. They got that foot on the brake. They're dead weight. That's a big problem. Right now, we're in the football season, and regardless of who you root for, the better team's not playing right now, but they did a study on this. Check this out. The Harris Interactive and Franklin Covey did a poll, 23,000 U.S. residents, and basically came up with this statistic right here. But if we were to translate that to a football team, how many players on each side? 11. Sometimes 12 if you need them. That's where they get the flag, right? But only 4 of the 11 players on the field would know which end zone was theirs. That's a big problem. Only 2 of them would even care. 2 to 3 of them would care. 2 or 3 of them would know what position they play and know exactly how they're supposed to. Unfortunately, one of my favorite players was throwing it to the opposite team last week before. So that was kind of an issue there. And all but 2 or 3 would in some way, shape, or form be competing against their own team. That's a big problem. So why am I bringing this up? Because you have to be actively engaged, not disactively engaged. And engagement, here's where we start to figure out why it's a big deal, right? I don't have my wallet on me, but you take out your wallet, when it starts to affect your wallet, that's when it starts to get real. And anybody, we just finished up 2022, but how many people would like to see a 22% higher productivity? That's a big deal. That's a big deal. How many people would like to see 2 times the success rate? All right? I tell people whenever I talk to them, if I'm only able to help you sell 1 more house every 2 to 3 months, what's that worth to you? That's the benefit of having a coach. And how many were here for the Jonathan Kitchens presentation? That dude had it down. The only thing I liked more about his presentation was his hair, because he still had some. Maybe one day. But guys, 41% fewer quality incidents. That means you're actually able to make more with less. And if you're going in the right direction, right, that's why that going in the right direction is so much more important than speed. There's a lot of people going nowhere fast. You ever seen those kids on the rocking horse? Imagine a grown man getting on that rocking horse, and he's going back and forth, and he's calling, and he's sending emails, and he's doing all this other stuff, and nothing is happening. He's exhausted. He's burning calories, really, but what's it doing to his productivity? And he's not really going anywhere, right? And that's what I talk to real estate agents about all the time. They say, oh, I've been in real estate 15 years. Really? Or is it you've been in real estate 1 year, repeated 15 times? And take real estate out of the equation, anything for that matter. I used to be an automobile dealership sales. And really fast, I found out that I could sell just as much as the guy that had been there 10, 15 years without the 10, 15 years worth of experience. Why? Just because of production, just because of activity, just because of what I did. Here's the interesting fact here, ready? 35% of all the people that were studied said that they would forgo a sizable raise if they would get their supervisor fired. Leadership matters. And you guys are in I love the Success Center. You know why I love the Success Center? Because it's contagious. Success is contagious. And so there's a lot of people coming together from different brokerages, from different fields, from different businesses, and all collectively are coming together for the benefit of who? The homeowner. The homeowner is the biggest, right? He's the one that benefits the most from this whole thing. What are we talking about? Right there. Right there. That's what it all boils down to right there, guys. Everything. Not just something. You can have what you really want. No, he said you can have everything. So what does everything mean to you? Freedom, financial independence, travel. I mean, who would love to travel, So that's what I tell people. If you will do this one thing right here, what's going to happen is if you will go ahead and discipline yourself and do the things that you need to do when you need to do them, the time will come that you can do what you want to do when you want to do them. But it all starts with all of this right here, because if you have a dream, any bow hunters, any people go out, shot a bow before? I haven't, right? But from what I understand, if you have a dream, if you have a goal, it's a lot like shooting the bow. When you take it, you pull back on the string, you aim it where you want it to go, and then you release it. But the problem is this. A lot of people don't have a target. A lot of people don't know what they want. How in the world we traveled before GPS, right? But even Google asks you one thing, or two things really, right? Where are you? Where do you want to go? Now, some people don't even know where they are. So Google has to tell them, you are here. But it'll do three things. It'll give them the fastest route. It'll give them the shortest route. And then it's even nice, it'll give them the scenic route, right? The fastest route often entails what? tolls. But how many have gone on a tollway to get there faster? Time is money, right? What do you think coaching does? Helps you accelerate your results. Who doesn't want more results? Who doesn't want to have somebody mentoring them, helping them to get to where their intended destination is a lot faster, a lot quicker, without stepping in the potholes of life, without going through the dark room? There's a lot of brand new realtors that the broker will just come in and say, hey, good luck, you got your license, sell your friends, sell your family, next. Not the case, right? The little bit I've had a chance to sit down with Miss Cindy, I'm excited for those of you that are here because there's a big growth opportunity, right? I've said this and I haven't told her this, so you tell me if I'm correct or if I'm wrong, but this right here that you have set up right here is a personal growth and development company cleverly disguised as a real estate development corporation or whatever. That's just your vehicle for doing it. But your personal growth and development, your compensation in life, really is going to be in direct proportion to your personal development. So the next one here, if we were to break it down and do this, because I'm fixing to get to the part that I really wanted to get to, is this. When you're shooting the bow, what's happening is you're pulling back on it. And a lot of times in life, it's in that pullback that you think you're going the wrong way. Things aren't really working out for you. You know, you may even feel that you've taken a wrong turn. But what that pullback is, it's not a setback, it's a setup. Because you're fixing to get propelled and launched to your goal, to that greatness that you're after. And it all starts with your mindset. Because it is. You know, one of the most interesting things, I'm not a gardener, I wish I was, but I'm not a gardener, but from what I understand, a lot of the growth takes place underneath. And it's not until that the roots come out that you're able to bust through the ground and show everybody what you've been working on. So the interesting thing about this is that if you have a goal that's worth going after it, do it. Because all dreams require time and they require money. But the truth of the matter is this. If you want your dreams to come true, the first thing you have to do is wake up and go out and work for it. Right? The only time success comes before work. Anybody know this one? In the dictionary. That's why we get along, buddy. We go to the same barber. But it's in the dictionary, guys. Other than that, you got to wake up, get dressed, and really, if I was to give you any advice on this right here, half of it is just showing up. Half of the deal is just showing up because so many people, 52%, don't even show up. They show up late. Clock in. First question they ask is, what's for lunch? Right? They get back from lunch and they're like, is it 5 o'clock yet? Anyway, I know y'all don't know any of those people. But dream alignment. Dream alignment is this. When you work for a dream and not a paycheck. One fella put it like this. If you're willing to work without looking at the clock, pretty soon you don't have to worry about looking at the price. It doesn't matter how much cost is. You know, people say, well, I can't afford that because it costs too much. Is it? Because if you reverse engineer that, it probably sounds more like an income problem. Because if you had the right income, it wouldn't matter on what the cost is. And guys, I have kids. I like what Les Brown said, that it was never about the money. He just wanted to be comfortable. But he found out that in order to be comfortable, he had to be rich. And so that's what he's talking about. But yeah, it's really about dreams. And here's the cool part about this right here. The coaches that care, the coaches that do it, show this by getting 3 things right. Okay? And just like construction, the foundation. Build a solid foundation. Or if you're me, a fundation. F-U-N, right? And that foundation is key because everything else is going to get built on it. The second thing that you want to get right is this. Focus on relationships. Focus on relationships because ultimately that's what's going to determine your success in any business. And then the third thing is this. Have somebody help you facilitate those dreams. I get it. I understand. There's those people that say, hey, I'm a self-made man. I'm a self-made woman. But the truth of the matter is You know, you've heard this, the teamwork makes the, and it really is true. It really is true. You've got to be able to have a group of people that are around you, because the people you hang around, right, is a very big telltale sign of your future. It was John Maxwell that said, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. But check this out. The dream alignment requires three things: the right process, the right relationships, the right person, the right relationships, and this is what I wanted to get to. This next part right here is where all the money is about to be made. So you ready to take notes? We're going to kind of go through this because I didn't realize it would take me this long to get here. But it's a process. Any bakers? Any cooks? Right? There's a recipe to this thing. Right? Success leaves clues. But the first P is this: you got to prepare. And on top of preparing, you got to be able to plan for it. Right? If you don't prepare, if you don't plan, pretty soon you're going to end up on the wrong side of the deal. But then you got a prospect. Anybody know what a prospect is? Person you haven't met yet. There's no strangers when you're in sales. And truth be told, my mentor, Zig Ziglar, said this: everybody's in sales. Whether you like it or not, you're in sales. So the next one is this: relate. You got to be able to relate to somebody, right? That's where you go in and you build a common ground. You ask those questions, those who, what, when, where, hi, wow, right? You start to frog them. Anybody know what that is? You talk about family, recreation, occupation, goals. What is it you're wanting to accomplish? There's a lot of things, but when you relate, this is where you build that relationship. This is where you build that common ground. And once you build that relationship and you build that common ground, when things get tough, they don't go looking for another realtor. You sit down and you talk it out. The next part is this: open a dialogue to uncover needs. One of the biggest frustration in any sales process is unmet expectations. It's no different in coaching. That's what I do. Whenever I'm asking those difficult questions, I'm asking some questions that probably their therapist hasn't even asked them, if you have a therapist. And I'm going to find out what it is that you're after, because I'm going to help you get to where you are. You know, I'm going to be that GPS. I'm going to find out where you are. I'm going to help you how to get there pretty quick. The next one is this: confirm the needs. Anybody heard this? Never assume. You want to confirm the needs. And that's very, very, very important, because the last thing you want to do is think that they want this and they really want that. They won't tell you, but they're like, they haven't heard a word I'm saying. And then they end up buying. And I know this hasn't happened to anybody in here, but you see them on Facebook. Hey, we're closing today. What? With who? Why? What happened? Right? They're saving face. The other part: explain your recommendation. Hey, based on all the information you gave me, right, here's what I feel is best for you, based on all of this. The next one is this: sell the value, guys. If I hear one more person on a Facebook Live going through an open house saying, this is the kitchen, no duh. I see the stove. I know it's a kitchen. If you've done the right things up front, let's talk about who's cooking the first dinner. Let's talk about Thanksgiving. Let's talk about where the Christmas tree is going. Let's talk about those things, because if you start to paint them and put them in the picture, they start to take that mental ownership. The last thing right here is simply ask for the objective. I think we need to submit an offer. And I think we need to do this. I think we need to do that. And if you'll do that, right, one of the biggest reasons people aren't as successful as they need to in sales is because they never asked for the order. And Mr. Ziglar said, what are you, a professional presenter? I'm fixing to ask for an order here in just a second, just like Jonathan Kitchens did, right? And there's going to be a few people that are going to take me up on it. There's some people that will be like, that's not for me. It's okay. Again, I'm only after 30%. The other one here, ready? When you put all this together, when you put that whole process together, the dreams become a reality when you turn them into a goal and you work on them every Monday. No. Every Saturday. No. What's it say? Every day, right? That's the way to say it now, every day. And so what's your dream? What is it that you're after? What do you want most out of this life? Because I promise you, when that date on my tombstone is put, we already know the first date. There's a little dash going on in between. But whenever that last date is put in, I want to make sure that that dash is full of fun, full of excitement, full of impact. I'm helping somebody do more, be more, have more, to be able to give more, right? Ziegler said that you can't give that which you do not have, and the ultimate gift is one of legacy. That's where this whole Ziegler legacy certification came into, because he knew that he was only set on this earth for a certain amount of time, but his principles and his philosophy could outlast him. And that's what we're doing here today. Because at the end of it, people don't care how much you know. They don't, until they know how much you care. And this is where Mr. Ziegler added this. Personalize it. That's what I loved about your gifts, Sherry. About them. I don't need to be the person right in front of you. Block everything else out. Mr. Ziegler, this is Tom Ziegler, but he was my coach, but he said the right attitude very rarely leads to the wrong action. If you do it with right intentions, right, you can't go wrong. And here's one of my favorite ones here. It's your attitude. We talked about that earlier, right? It's your attitude, not your there's some smart people in this room, right? But it's not how smart you are. It's your attitude, not your aptitude, that's going to determine your altitude, right? I don't know how high heaven is, but I need to get as high as I can, because I'm probably something taller than I am, but I got a long way to go to get there. So I got to make sure that my attitude matches how far I'm trying to get to, because anything worth doing is worth doing, some people say right. But Mr. Ziegler came in and said this: anything worth doing, it's worth doing poorly. How many knew they were born to be a realtor? How many in fifth grade, when your fifth grade teacher asked you, what do you want to do when you grow up? How many said realtor? No? What? I didn't say mortgage lender. I didn't say car salesperson. I wanted to be an astronaut. Did I miss the mark? Right? But anything worth doing is worth doing poorly until you learn to do it better. That's how you grow, right? And so finish this thing up. Here's probably the most truest statement we can ever hear or read, right? Far too many people have no idea what they can do, because all they've been told is what they can't do. By the age of 17, a teenager will have heard the word no over 66,000 times. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. No, but they've never stopped and shared with them what they can do. And as an adult, I think that just transfers over. And so when I do coaching, we don't talk about what we can't do. We talk about what we can do and the things that are possible. And so really, check this out. If you're gonna want to go somewhere you've never been, you're gonna have to do some things you've never done. If you're gonna want to accomplish some things that you've never accomplished, it's gonna take you stepping outside of that. Somebody say this. Yeah. Some people have a really, really nice comfort zone, and they don't want to get out of that. They want to stay where it's nice and cozy and comfortable. Don't mess with me, right? It's taken this long for me to get right here. But growth happens right outside of, they're so close. And it just takes that one step. But so many times people stay in that comfort zone. You know why? Because they can't see the first step. But Mr. Ziegler said that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. And if you'll be willing to take that first step, it's only a matter of time before that second step gets revealed. Right? I have a family that lives in El Paso, and we always travel at night because the kids will shut up and go to sleep and leave me alone. But my headlights can only see about 300, 400, 500 feet down the road. I can't see to El Paso, but I know that if I'll go as far as I can, where I can with what I can see, when I get there, I'll be able to see further. And that's what happens with this coaching, with this philosophy that Mr. Ziegler was talking about. Do what you can, where you're at with what you got, and before you know it, you'll be able to do so much more. So check this out. If you don't have my cell phone number, I'm going to ask you to text it. My calendar is my inventory. I had 4 slots. I've only got 3 slots now for coaching. And I'm giving away 3 one-hour coaching strategy sessions. And what I'm going to do for you, if you'll text me your name, your number, who you are, and what dream it is that you want to accomplish. Name, number, who you are, and the dream you want to accomplish. The first 3 that text me this, we'll set a time. It's at no cost. It's normally about $99 deal that I charge. Okay? We'll sit down and we'll talk. Before we leave, you'll have a strategy. If nothing else, you'll have a strategy. I'll leave you with a game plan and your blueprint to be able to get the dream that you've ultimately wanted to do. Because really, it takes time to get started. It's time to start. You know, one guy said that if you've done it, if you've been in real estate for a year and you've been doing it wrong, we suggest a year of doing it wrong is long enough. Stop. Stop doing it that way. Right here, guys. Remember we were talking about relationships and how important that is? You've got you've got your inner circle, and then you've got your close friends, and then you've got your friends. Some of you guys stop at that inner circle because y'all don't have a whole lot of friends. They said that once you graduate high school and college, your friends pretty much, right? But Ziegler always said you want to have about 5 or 6 good friends because that's how many it takes to carry you and dump you in the hole. Well, he didn't say dump you in the hole, but that was my translation. But Bob Bodine, this is the guy, and I'm wrapping it up with this. Bob Bodine is the guy that Sports Illustrated said is the most influential person in sports you've never heard about. He wrote 2 books, one called 2 Chairs, and he basically talked about how every morning you sit 2 chairs. You sit in one, God is in the other, and you have your conversation with him, right? The other book he wrote was called The Power of Who. And he basically said this: everyone you need to know to be uber successful in this life, you already know. How is that even possible? Call the people that are in your phone. Call the people in your address book, in your contacts list, and just start to talk with them. How are you doing? How are things going? Can I help you out with anything? Before you know it, you'll find out, you'll start to create synergy, right? If you've never read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, synergy is the 6th habit. When 2 people get together, 3 people get together, the book I like to read that it says when they are touching and agreeing on any one thing, all of a sudden something magical happens. And it's not really magical more so than it is stepping into your purpose, really is what it boils down to. But if you think about this, call those people in your phone. I did this the other day. But if you go to your contacts list and go all the way to the very bottom, hit that number sign and scroll down, until you've called every single person on that contacts list and checked on them to make sure they're doing okay and how they're doing, and if you could help them out in any way, and then in some way in conversation through the law of reciprocity, it's going to come in and says, how are you doing? You get to talk about you, share with them what you do and how you're trying to help other people, and before you know it, I have someone you need to talk to. It's just the way it happens. That's just how it works. And that's what I really, really enjoyed about Mr. Bodine, because he really put this on us and understood that, hey, if you're willing to risk it, the reward is huge. The reward is massive if you do it, because every single one of us, nobody in here has a monopoly on time, right? Father Time is going to come for all of us at some point or another. Everybody's going to die. Everybody's going to pass away at some point or another. We don't know when that time frame is. But the fact of the matter is this: even though Father Time is our worst enemy, timing can be our best friend. And I don't think it's any coincidence that this whole thing was switched out to be able to do this. I've left off a lot because I'm trying to stay up on time, because really, it's time to grow, guys. It's time to step out of our comfort zone. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's about you helping other people. It's about you taking time to reflect on yourself. Cindy, whether she knows it or not, introduced me to Gary Brecka through Mr. Greg. What's the XP guy's name? The other guy. EXP main guy? Yes, Glenn Sanford, right? He introduced me to Gary Brecka. I went and had my blood work done by Gary Brecka. He called him, talked to him over in Florida. They sent me a little kit, told me where to go, got my blood work. They're doing some blood work for me, because now I really do want to be healthy, because I do want to take the time to play. I do want to be able to have more time. Really, I'm out here having fun, guys, and my playground is Tyler, Texas, East Texas. I'm getting to play online with Zoom and people from the West Coast, from the East Coast, from West Europe. But take some time to be quiet. Take some time to love on your people. Guys, there's so much that we can do together collectively. And when you have a coach in your life, like Jonathan Kitchens, myself, or anybody, it doesn't have to be me, it doesn't have to be Mr. Kitchens, it could be anybody. Find you a coach that you resonate with, and together, you guys are going to be able to accomplish so much more. So, any questions, comments, concerns, snide remarks? No? Miss Cindy, hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much.